Now, you are probably well aware that there is a referendum coming up. It's only less than 3 weeks away now, on the 14th of October. And as the Australian Electoral Commission says, the question that we put to voters is whether to alter the Constitution to recognise the First Peoples of Australia by establishing an Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander voice. And there's many different opinions on this, yes and no. Well, no campaigner Senator Malcom Roberts is in the region, and I caught up with him earlier to ask, why no?
What the no vote means is that it'll end the Aboriginal industry. And the Aboriginal industry consists of white and black people, activists, lawyers, academics, consultants, politicians, bureaucrats, who are hurting and stifling the Aboriginal people. What happens is people woke up to that under ATSIC, they abolished ATSIC. But the voice, will not be a piece of legislation, it will be entrenched in the Constitution, no way of getting rid of it. There'll be no accountability, and the Aboriginal industry, which is doing the most damage to Aboriginals, will be perpetuated forever and keep Aboriginals down.
Senator Roberts, I want to come back to what you are calling Aboriginal industry. What do you mean by that?
The people who are pushing agendas, we spend about $35 to $40 billion a year on the Aboriginal industry. Now, a lot of people think that the money goes to the people in the communities. Some of it does, but most of it is hijacked. We've got now thousands of bodies. I've got a list here in front of me. 3,521 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander corporations, including 243 native title bodies, 13,000 charities and not-for-profit commissions, land councils, 48, not including the state land councils. We've got regional councils, 35, Aboriginal agencies, 122 plus.
Okay, we're going to run out of time if we keep going like this, but I just want to check, so $35 to $40 billion, where are you getting that figure from?
That's a figure that's well known in Parliament. It's been created from assessments of the budgets that we've had in this country for years.
Have you spoken to First Nations people about this stance that you've taken?
Oh, yes, very much so. Senator Nampijinpa Price organised for 20 elders and leaders to come around from northern Australia. And I spoke to one of them directly and said, why are you opposing the voice? And Eddie looked at me and said, because it's racist and because I'm Australian. And also, I've been across the Cape York communities, both Indigenous as well as everyday communities, and the support for the black and white Aboriginal industry is plummeting because people recognise in the Aboriginal communities how much the white and black Aboriginal industry is doing to harm them, suppress them, control them. So I've been across the communities 2 or 3 times, all the communities in Cape York, and I've been to communities in Torres Strait Islanders. People are saying the same thing. When I ask them about Close the Gap, they say, Senator Roberts, what's Close the Gap? Or they say, Senator Roberts, that is very simply something to perpetuate the gap because the people who are perpetuating the gap don't want to close because they're getting money out of it.
Senator Roberts, what do you think about the "if you don't know, vote no" slogan? What would you say to those who find it a negative and damaging slogan to people who might need to work out more about the vote rather than just voting no?
Well, the main target there is the fact that the Albanese government has never come clean with the details on this. Never come clean with the details. They won't put the details out. They've used international sports stars. They've used Australian sports stars, celebrities, politicians.
But people are aware of what they're voting for when, the wording that will go in the Constitution.
Well, I've asked questions of the government on that, and they're deliberately misleading the representation of what's being on the ballot paper. The ballot paper is the title or a very short descriptor. The real change to the law, which Section 128 of the Constitution says must be on the ballot paper and is not going to be on the ballot paper, is the whole of Chapter 9. And we're adding a whole new Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is going to be entirely added if the voice gets up. That includes Section 129, which has got 3 parts to it. We're talking about many sentences, not just one sentence. And so it's very misleading.
Isn't it worth trying something new?
No, definitely not. This is not new. This is a continuation and embedding of enshrining in the Constitution something that has failed repeatedly. The ATSIC failed. It was removed. They hid behind terms of racism for anyone who criticised. ATSIC was eventually abolished in the communities, and the Aboriginal communities came and said, we've got to do something about this. They got rid of ATSIC, which was legislated. Now they want to enshrine a similar kind of thing into the Constitution.
But wouldn't that give these people a voice?
No, it wouldn't. These people are not about getting a voice. These people are activists pushing an agenda. That's what they've done. They've looked after themselves. Many people have got tens and sometimes many tens of millions of dollars out of this in the activism space. And the other thing is that the voice is quite clearly, the Prime Minister has said so himself in Aboriginal communities. He's contradicted himself in metropolitan areas, but he has said the voice is a step to a treaty. A treaty is a step to making a deal with the people in the unelected body. There is no election for this voice body. No election at all.
Senator Roberts, you stated in a speech and you quoted Martin Luther King's dream that his children would not be judged by the colour of their skin but by the content of their character. But wouldn't Luther King Jr. want everyone to have a voice?
Well, Luther King Jr. wanted everyone to comply and be given a decent choice within the democracy of America. That's what he wanted. He recognised that whether your skin is white or black or yellow or brindle or whatever it is, it doesn't affect your vote. You can vote in Parliament. It doesn't affect you. What this will do, if it's enshrined, racism is enshrined in our Constitution, it will decrease the power of anyone who's not Aboriginal, which will decrease the power of 97% of the Australian population.
But how do you know that, though?
Well, it's obvious. If you give one group of people more power, more say, then others have got less power. I mean, it's quite simple, Sam.
That was Senator Malcom Roberts.